You've been having the same argument with your boss for 3 years, even though they haven't said a word today. What if I told you that argument exists only in your head, and there's a way to stop it? This lesson reveals that when we're upset, we're not reacting to what's actually happening, we're reacting to stories we've made up about what's happening. It teaches that our minds are constantly replaying the past, making us see enemies and threats that don't actually exist in this moment. We all know this feeling. You walk into work and before anyone speaks, you're already tense. Your shoulders are up. Your jaw is tight. You're preparing for battles that haven't started, defending against attacks that haven't come. But here's what's actually happening. Your mind is like a movie projector that's stuck playing old films over everything you look at. You think you're seeing your kitchen, your coworker, your life, but you're actually watching reruns of past hurts and fears projected onto a blank screen. Sarah walks into Monday's team meeting already tense, because last month her manager questioned her budget numbers in front of everyone. As she sits down, she notices his slightly furrowed brow and immediately thinks, "Here we go again. He's going to challenge everything I say." Her heart rate spikes, her shoulders tighten, and she starts mentally rehearsing her defense. She's organizing her papers, preparing her counterarguments, feeling that familiar knot in her stomach. She glances at him again. That furrowed brow is still there. He's already decided I'm wrong, she thinks. He's just waiting for his moment. But then she catches herself. He's frowning at his laptop screen, not at her. He hasn't even looked up yet. She's been in a fight with someone who wasn't fighting. This is the shock we need to feel. Sarah wasn't responding to her manager at all. She was responding to a memory, a ghost from last month's meeting that she'd been carrying around like a weight. Her mind had taken that old film, Manager Challenges Budget, and projected it over this completely neutral moment. Think about your own mental projection booth for a moment. How many old movies are playing right now? There's probably the one where someone disappointed you, so now you perceive disappointment coming from everyone. There's the one where you weren't good enough, so now you hear criticism in every comment. These films are playing constantly, coloring everything you encounter. We're not crazy for doing this. Our minds evolved to keep us safe by remembering threats. But somewhere along the way, this survival mechanism went haywire. Now we're not just remembering that the stove was hot, we're viewing every surface as potentially burning us. We're not just recalling that someone hurt us, we're viewing everyone as a potential source of pain. The exhausting part is that we think we're being realistic. I know how this goes, we tell ourselves. I've witnessed this before, but we're not witnessing anything real. We're watching those old films play out over and over, and then we're surprised when we feel trapped in the same patterns. Here's where everything starts to shift. When you realize you're arguing with your own thoughts instead of responding to reality, the constant mental pressure lifts and you can finally perceive what's actually in front of you. Go back to Sarah for a moment. When she catches herself preparing for a fight that isn't happening, something profound occurs. She takes a breath. She looks around the room with fresh eyes. Her manager is just a person squinting at a spreadsheet. Her colleagues are just people drinking coffee, checking phones, starting their week. The room itself is just a room, not a battlefield, not a courtroom. Just a conference room with slightly uncomfortable chairs and fluorescent lighting. This is the relief we're after. Not the relief of winning the argument or avoiding the conflict, but the relief of realizing there was no argument to begin with. You've been shadowboxing with memories, wrestling with ghosts, defending against attacks from last year. So how do we turn off the projector? How do we stop watching these old films? First, we need to recognize when we're upset. That's our signal that the projector is running. When you feel that familiar tension, that preparing for battle sensation, pause. Ask yourself, am I responding to what's happening right now? Or am I responding to what happened before? You'll be amazed how often it's the second one. That tone of voice that triggered you. It reminded you of someone else. That look your partner gave you. It activated a memory of disappointment. That email from your colleague. It triggered an old story about not being respected. Once you notice this pattern, you can't ignore it. You start catching yourself mid-projection. Wait. I'm doing it again. I'm watching that old movie where I'm not good enough. But that's not what's actually happening here. When those old films stop playing, something beautiful happens. You discover what's actually here. Not the story about what's here, not your interpretation of what's here, but what's actually simply here. Sarah, no longer watching her old movie, might notice that her manager looks tired. Maybe he's dealing with his own pressures. She might notice that her colleague across the table is doodling flowers on her notepad, not because she's bored with Sarah's presentation, but because that's how she focuses. She might even find, to her surprise, that when she presents her numbers without defensiveness, the meeting goes smoothly. No battle. No criticism. Just people doing their jobs on a Monday morning. This is what becomes possible when we stop letting the past dictate the present. We can have conversations instead of arguments. We can perceive people instead of threats. We can experience moments instead of memories. The lightness you feel when you stop carrying every past hurt into every present moment. It's like setting down a backpack you didn't know you were wearing. Suddenly you can stand up straight. Suddenly you can breathe. Suddenly you realize how much energy you've been spending on battles that ended years ago. We don't need to forget the past or pretend hard things didn't happen. We just need to stop projecting them onto every blank screen we encounter. Your kitchen table isn't the place where that painful conversation happened. It's just a table. Your inbox isn't full of attacks. It's just messages. This moment isn't a repeat of your worst day. It's just this moment, containing whatever it actually contains. When you stop watching old movies, you might be surprised by the feature presentation that's actually playing. Your real life, happening right now, usually far gentler and more ordinary than the drama you've been projecting onto it. If you want to keep practicing with us, you can like the video and subscribe. Let's take a moment now to let this settle with a guided meditation. Let yourself settle into this moment. Find a position where your body feels supported and comfortable. Allow your eyes to close gently, or soften your gaze if you prefer to keep them open. Take one deep breath, just to arrive here. Then let your breathing return to its natural rhythm. Notice your body in this chair, on this cushion, wherever you are. Feel the points of contact. The weight of your body held by what's beneath you. Now bring to mind that projection booth we explored. Just gently notice, are there any old films playing right now? Any stories running in the background. You don't need to stop them or fix them. Just notice, like walking past a movie theater and glancing at what's showing. Feel your breath moving in and out. This breath isn't from the past. It's not from the future. This breath is happening right now. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw release, these parts of you that have been braced for battles that aren't happening. Notice the sounds around you, not the story about the sounds, just the sounds themselves. Maybe traffic. Maybe a clock. Maybe silence. Just sound. Being what it is. If you notice your mind starting to play an old film, about tomorrow's meeting, about yesterday's conversation, that's okay. Just observe it like you'd observe a movie preview. Oh, there's that one again. Then return to your breath. Rest here in this moment that isn't asking anything of you. This moment that has no argument, no conflict, no threat. Just this simple experience of being here, breathing, existing. Feel how much space there is when you're not watching those old movies. How quiet it is when the projector stops running. Stay here as long as you like. And when you're ready, take a deeper breath. Feel your body here in this room. Gently open your eyes if they were closed. Carry this quietness with you. You can return to it anytime you notice those old films starting to play. We're glad you practiced with us today. If it's helpful, a free digital copy of A Course in Miracles is available via the link in the description. You're also welcome to leave a short comment like, "I am grateful. Thank you for taking this time to step out of the old stories and into what's actually here." As you go back to your day, be gentle with yourself when you notice the projector starting up again. It's just an old habit. And now you know how to recognize it for what it is. Until next time, may you perceive with fresh eyes.